All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Hello, yeah, it's been a while. Not much. How about you? I'm not sure why I called. I guess I really just wanted to talk to you. And I was thinking maybe later on we could get together for a while. It's been such a long time and I really do miss your smile. I'm not talking about moving in, and I don't want to change your life.
And welcome to hour number 2 of tonight's show here from the studios and corporate offices of Relmar McConnell Media Company in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and you're listening to us on your hometown Classic 1220 and streamed on classic1220.ca. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, or right here to the studios at Classic. Are you writing this down, guys? Yeah. Okay. xzone at classic1220.ca. All right, my second guest tonight is Joe Diamond. We're going to be talking about mind reading, mentalism, magic, seance history, and a lot of other great things. Joining me now from Woodstock, Illinois is Joe Diamond. And Joe, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you so much for having me, Rob. It's a joy to be here.
Oh, thank you, sir. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you started in the profession you're in now.
Oh, it's a long story. How long do we have? I'll keep it short. I'll give you the cliff notes for sure.
All righty.
I've always been attracted to the strange and unusual. I was the weird kid, reading ghost stories and doing my best to retell them. I also grew up at a time where it was right after the late 80s. So Ghostbusters had come and gone, but I was the last kid still into them, so I was just like a slight step out of time with all the other kids. I was the one watching Nick at Night growing up, so I watched Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Dragnet even.
All the good stuff.
And so, yeah, the good ones.
Yeah.
But when I went to school the next day to talk to the kids about them, they had no idea what I was talking about. No, it's a served man. It's a cookbook. And the kids would be like, what? And so, but that didn't stop me. I was always into the strange and unusual. I read about everything from UFOs and crop circles to psychics like Uri Geller and magicians and real life Ghostbusters like Harry Houdini. And I read a lot of books growing up, so much so that by the time I got to second grade, I had a 12th grade reading level, which sounds impressive, but I still have a 12th grade reading level. I peaked early.
I see.
And so, I got interested. I got a magic hit like most kids, but what I was really interested in were the people the psychics, the hypnotists, the mind readers. And I got some books from the library on how to read palms, and my great-grandmother taught me how to read playing cards, just like tarot cards. And I kind of just started doing shows in the Chicagoland area. I had a couple mentors that were really kind that took me under their wing. And over the last, 15 to 20 years, it's been my professional job to go to house parties and corporate events. And now, thanks to my appearance recently on the show Penn and Teller Fool Us, where I read their minds and predicted the outcome of the show, and read the palm of host Brooke Burke, who was also my childhood crush. So that was a very odd full circle moment as well. I get to travel all around the country and beyond, doing shows in theaters and various haunted locations where instead of standing on stage and pulling a rabbit out of a hat like a more traditional magician, I stand on stage and pull thoughts out of people's minds. I've done everything from telling people their pin codes, both current and old ones. I stick to old ones now with the way the world is right now.
Yes,
but
good
I've
idea.
told people the name of their first crush. One person I did that for was Ari Lehman, the first person to play Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th series. And when I told him the name of his first crush within a few minutes of meeting him out of nowhere, he freaked out and said, "Dude, you're scary." And I was just like, oh my God, I scared the hockey mask killer.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a fun way to make a living.
Now that is a claim to fame.
Yeah.
So what was it like working, doing the show with Penn and Teller?
It was really hard because they don't like psychics. They're very skeptical. They don't like even mentalists, and Penn has said a lot of, we'll just say, not positive or nice things about people I grew up admiring. Like I grew up admiring them, but I also grew up admiring people like the amazing Kreskin and Uri Geller. And Penn Jillette has not shared my same passion for the work of those people, which is, all fair in love and war and show business.
Yeah,
that's fine. But I had auditioned every year since the show began, and never got on until this last year, which was fascinating. Originally, the producers did want me to do something with tarot cards. And last minute, they asked me to change it to playing cards, which I don't know if they felt it was too. I don't know if they felt that would be pushback from the network. I don't know if they felt Penn and Teller wouldn't like it. I don't know the reasons for it. I was okay with it. I'm very flexible, and I'm very okay with how the clip turned out. Because again, I got to play with each of them, talk about themselves, talk about me, each of our histories, and they could not have been more pleasant. They actually said this was their favorite kind of mentalism, because what I did took actual mental effort, and that's one of the things I do pride myself on, is the amount of work I do put in, because there are some people who will do magic tricks to make it look like they know how to do something, like, just for example, reading a palm or knowing what someone's thinking, when there are actual techniques. Like, you can get an actual book on how to actually read a palm, or how to actually read someone's mind through something like, contact mind reading or Hellstromism, like the amazing Kreskin has talked about numerous times. And sure, there's ways to fake that, but that takes the fun out of it, and that takes some of the joy and mystery out of it. And I don't know if people who have faked it have had very long-standing careers without going into too much of that, but it was very fun to go and work on the biggest stage in Vegas, and again ended up Brooke Burke is a little bit more on the mystical side as well, so when she asked me to read her palm, I was totally starstruck, and she ended up hugging me, which at that point I was like, I'll take this over a trophy any day. So that was a real treat, because again, it's something not a lot of people in my industry get to do, let alone this sort of narrow niche of where the hypnotists and mentalists and psychic entertainers hang out.
Joe, how does mind reading work?
So there's a lot of different techniques you can use for it. One technique is just plain and simple intuition. There are so many times throughout our daily lives where we get a feeling or an urge, or we meet someone and we go, oh, I have a weird feeling.
Yes.
I don't know, or there's a weird feeling about that person. And part of the secret is in a stage format, in a stage show entertainment format like I'm doing, we get to see if I'm right or not. And you don't get to see if you're right on a daily basis. And even if you were to just randomly go up to people and say, hey, I have a weird vibe about you, are you okay? I think 99% of the population would lie and say, yes when the real answer was no, especially to a complete stranger. Because I've done that to people I know and love. So that is one simple answer. The other answer is yes, of course, there is a lot of psychology into what I do. There is a lot of again, magicians use the term sleight of hand. I like to use the term sleight of mind. It's funny too, because a lot of, again, more traditional magicians will be very skeptical when it comes to something like intuition. And yet all of them will say when they go to pick people for their shows, like to find an audience volunteer, they'll just pick people just based on their intuition in the moment standing on stage. And something in them from just doing that show a million times lets them know, oh, this person will be perfect for the next routine. Not that person, this person. The same way a stand-up comedian, develops a sixth sense where they go, okay, this next joke isn't going to work, do this joke instead. So there is something to the live performance environment where, performers of all kinds do develop a sort of intuitive sixth sense working with the audience.
Joe,
it goes, hopefully even further than that. And there's dozens and dozens of techniques from, again, intuition to body language to unconventional, even techniques that have been kind of deemed too controversial by some magicians to even try or rely upon. But if you work on them enough, you can start to learn to rely upon them.
Joe, how about reading body language?
What's funny is that I know some people who are great at it. A good friend of mine does seminars on body language. I'm actually not great at it. The more I personally try to go like Sherlock Holmes and like overanalyze something, the more wrong I am.
Wow.
The more I tend to turn it off and try to just go with what comes to me initially. That's typically what the less analytical I am, that's when I typically am the most bright.
All right, Joe, stand by. We've got to take our first commercial break. Exo Nation, our guest this hour is Joe Diamond. His website is joediamondlive.com. And Joe's going to be returning with me on the other side of this break, so don't go away. If you'd like to send me an email, once again, my email address is xzone@classic1220.ca. You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, coming to you tonight from the studios in in St. Catharines, Ontario, of your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. Don't go away. We'll be back right after these short breaks.
And the stars around, and I'd really love to see you tonight. We could go walking through Windy Park, take a drive along the beach, or stay at home and watch TV.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. Joe Diamond is my very special guest this hour, www.joediamondlive.com. All right, Joe, we were talking about reading people, and basically, we all have that ability, just like I know, the intuition. I've had many experiences of intuition in my life, and whenever I've gone against my gut feeling, I've paid for it.
Yes. Well, and that's the other thing, too. I often say maybe not the whole secret, but definitely the first 51% of the secret is sticking to your gut. I mean, so how often have you had your first gut instinct and then gone, I'm going to switch over, and then later on gone, I should have gone with my gut instinct? So much of it is
Yeah.
just sticking to that first gut instinct and not doubting yourself, which again is kind of where the body language stuff, again, just comes really naturally to some people, but that becomes the thing that I use to second guess my initial gut instinct, whether I'm doing, and there's a lot of different theories we could go into, whether I'm doing that unconsciously at such a rate that even I don't realize, whether it's coming from another source. I don't know. There is a certain point where even I am okay with just saying, I'm comfortable with being in the mystery, and I want to give people that experience of the mystery for themselves, because so many people, I think, especially in this day and age, are looking for answers, and they're not comfortable with just saying I don't know. And I think that's okay to say, and not just making something up and just going like, it's this or this. And I think it's okay to just finally go, you know what? I don't know. And if I want to communicate that to other people, I think it's got to start with me,
I understand you captured some photographs of haunted locations and have countless unexplained coincidences and synchronicities. Tell us about a few of them.
So for a while, for about the better part of 10 years, I was working, and this wasn't a plan, it just kind of happened. I was doing shows in almost exclusively haunted locations. I was at a place in Crystal Lake called the Dole Mansion, which I'm not supposed to talk too much about this, but there's no more artists in the building. We'll just say that some of the activity got so off the charts there that they ended up canceling the leases of all the artists there.
Wow.
So everyone has moved out of there for now. Which turns out to be a good thing, and I'll just leave it at that. Until more information comes out about that place. I loved the shows I did there, the people I worked with there, all positive. Nothing on this material plane, nothing but positive things to say about that. That said, in places like the Woodstock Opera House, it is arguably the most haunted location in the state, if not the entire Midwest. I know a lot of people like to talk about the Joliet Prison and places like that, but the Woodstock Opera House has so many occurrences and so much and so many legends. There was actually a paranormal conference there this last year, and so many people, like in broad daylight, when tons of people were around, had stuff happening. Cell phones were dying. People were there with different equipment that were just randomly going off at noon in broad daylight. And a lot of it is attributed to a ghost called Elvira. Now, there's a lot of different theories as to who Elvira is or what Elvira is. The common consensus is that she is the ghost of an actress that took her own life after she was scorned by her lover. And there's a couple different stories. Some say she leapt from the tower. Some say she poisoned herself and went to sleep in a seat DD113, which is actually dedicated to her in the theater. And I actually performed there this last Halloween. And there was a lot of different things that people caught on camera, some of which is on my social media. It's the same as my website, Joe Diamond Live. You can see it on my Instagram and on my Facebook page as well. People shared their photos from those experiences, everything from orbs to like a shadowy figure almost like over the chair. People felt cold spots, and also people were able to pick up on different things in different areas of the basement, because there was also a death in the basement years ago. A vagrant was down there during a wrestling match upstairs. He had gotten in to get cold, escape the cold, started a fire. The fire actually got out of hand, and all 400 people in this sold-out wrestling match leapt out of like these second-story windows onto the roof of the building next door and ran downstairs. No one died except for the vagrant in the basement, which is a minor miracle in and of itself. But we actually did take a paranormal tour down there recently, And again, people caught everything from shadows on cameras to orbs to a lot of people were using pendulums that were going just absolutely crazy and wild down there. I
Joe,
also have been the official mind reader at the Maxwell Mansion in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, which is about a half hour north of Woodstock, Illinois. Maxwell Mansion is now a boutique hotel, but it has a speakeasy downstairs, which is where in the 1800s, Dr. Maxwell would have done a lot of, we'll just say, unnecessary surgeries. And everyone on staff there has a story. Everyone has seen stuff on the first and second floors and down in the speakeasy. And I didn't have anything happen to me there until my wife and I were staying there overnight for her birthday. The old owner let us stay there. We were the only ones in the building. And the last night, my wife went to bed. She's an early bird. I'm a night owl. So I stayed up reading a book in the ballroom, which is right over where the surgeries are. In fact, there's a drain pipe down there that if you look, it looks to be painted red. They keep saying it's painted over red, but that's because they just couldn't fully clean it. And that's what the old owner said. So I'm right over that spot, and the house is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's been kept up very well. But I'm reading this book by the fire in the gorgeous ballroom. I finished my drink. I stand up and I look in the mirror over the fireplace, and I saw someone standing over my left shoulder. And I turned around to see who it was. No one was there. And I turned back and looked in the mirror, and no one was there. Now, full disclosure, I was drinking, and that was my fifth old fashioned, so it was either the spirits or the spirits. Full disclosure on that.
Hey,
but
Joe.
Again, the fact that it was right over that spot, we were the only ones in the building, and again, it was enough for me to just go, all right, finally had something happen to me in this building.
Joe, why do the spirits hang around? Why don't they go to wherever spirits go when they're finished their earthly whatever they do here on Earth?
So there's a lot of different theories, and I'll be honest, I don't know which one I fully subscribe to yet. I'm still, when it comes to ghosts, I'm still very much the it's definitely something that's adjacent to my work. It's not like the main focus. I definitely invoke them more for again, when I'm in haunted locations or around Halloween and such, but I'm not doing a lot of ghostly themed events when I'm going to corporate events and other types of theaters and such. They in those events they want me to stick to strictly mind reading, and that's fine. But again, when you're performing in a place like the Woodstock Opera House on Halloween night, you gotta talk about the ghosts.
Well, of course.
You can't not. So my friend Lauren Purcell, who's a psychic medium, and she'd be great to have on the show too. She's often told me about how spirits often aren't and never were people, and ghosts are people who have passed away, who have unfinished business, who stick around. So there is technically, I kind of use spirits and ghosts pretty interchangeably, and I probably shouldn't, but as far as I know, that's really the distinction. But again, I just classify it all under the paranormal. Those are the moments and paranormal occurrences I've had. Again, I've caught some things on camera, and I've had other strange occurrences we can get into later. But I feel like those aren't any more than, I think, the average person. I do think the average person does experience a lot of paranormal activity, but a lot of people just brush it off as being a trick of the eye, or even worse, a coincidence.
Yeah.
And when someone says oh, that's just a coincidence, I always try to point out that that's more disturbing. The idea that no one or nothing was pulling the strings to make this happen is actually more mysterious when you really think about it.
I understand that you hacked the Pentagon without a computer, using your brain.
Oh yes, yes. Well. How long do we have until the next break? Because this is not a long story, but a dense story.
All
So I
right.
don't
Well,
want to.
yeah, well,
Uh,
yeah, we've got about a minute and a half before the next break, so that's a good idea holding on to it.
okay, yeah. So we'll tease that for the next moment. And but all I'll say is it happened by accident. And I have a couple thousand firsthand witnesses as well.
Wow.
So for anyone who is skeptical on the story, it happened back in 2016. And I'll tell the full story when we come back, so that way I'm not rushing through anything
That sounds like a
when
plan.
we come back from the next segment.
All right, Exonation, our guest this hour is Joe Diamond. His website is www.joediamondlive.com. Interesting. Truly interesting. Mind-boggling. Did you get that? It's a little mind-boggling. I'm sorry about that. Joe and I will be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us right now on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. I'll be back with my guests on the other side of this very short break. Don't go away.
If you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old-time movie about a ghost from a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong with chains upon my feet.
And welcome back, everyone. Joe Diamond's our special guest this hour, joediamondlive.com. And that was If You Could Read My Mind by Gordon Lightfoot, one of my favorite songs, and so appropriate for this segment.
How'd you know we're psychically connected? What that?
We were going to tell us about how you hacked the White House. Was it the White
Pentagon.
House? Pentagon, yeah.
Technically. So this is so. First off, this was on 95 Will Rock Radio on the Wisconsin-Illinois border. At some point, I believe it was on a Friday the 13th in 2016. I'd have to look up the exact date, but I was on the radio, and at the time, there is video of my previous appearance on this morning radio show. I've been on the show dozens of times over the years, and they challenged me to guess one of the radio host's iPhone codes. And I was like, well, if I have her think of just one digit at a time, I can probably figure it out and, type them in one at a time and unlock her phone. So I did, and the phone opened. And it kind of went viral in the Chicagoland area. Everywhere I went for the better part of a year, people would just hand me their phones and be like, here, unlock it. Try to unlock my phone. Try to guess my passcode. Which, very different times now, after, without getting too much into it, but after the last few political presidential elections and such, especially when it comes to emails and passwords and all that. But and we'll just leave it there. Also, after a global pandemic, I don't want to be touching people's phones after all that anymore. So I do still do this. I'll have people think of their old PIN codes and such, and I'll guess those, and I do that still very often. But the next time I was on that radio show, They replayed the clip, and we were laughing about it, and we get a phone call. And they answer it's not a local Chicagoland or Milwaukee area code. And so they answer it, and the woman says, "Hi, my name's Susan. I'm calling from the Pentagon." And this is live radio at like 8:30 in the morning. The one host is like, yeah, and she Googles the area code and then the full number, and sure enough, it's a landline for the offices at the Pentagon. So it's a legit number.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "I want to talk to the mind reader guy." And I'm like, "Susan, I can hear you." And she says, "Okay, Joe, I have a question for you. Do you need to be in the same room with someone to guess an iPhone password?" Now, Rob, I'm going to put this in perspective. Again, this was mid-2016. This was the time when Apple was in the news every single day with the FBI as to whether or not they could or should unlock a terrorist's iPhone that they had gotten.
Right.
So I am, again, 8:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I am live radio. I immediately start backpedaling. I immediately am like, I don't want to be taken away by the white vans or black vans or any of that, you know? I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm doing this. My calling is to be an entertainer. I don't want to. No, I don't want to. So I say, yes, it does work better if I'm in the room with the person or something like that. And to just kind of pivot and yes and from my experience as a performer, I say, but I can do something with you over the phone right now, Susan. Could you think of a playing card and a deck? Because I'm thinking, okay, just do playing cards, change the subject, get off the subject of PIN numbers and all that.
Make sure
do
that
something.
Not to mention keeping the NSA, the CIA, and FBI off your tail.
Yeah. We're on a morning radio show. Let's keep it fun and light. Let's keep it. Think of a playing card, Susan. And now I have actually closed my shows since I was a teenager with calling someone on a cell phone and having them think of a card and I guess it over the phone. So I've done this a lot. And it was perfect because it was like, oh my gosh, I get to this is great. In my mind, I'm like, I'm going to be able to segue into one of my closing pieces for my show. It'll be great. It'll be a good way to kind of yes and move away from it. I take out a card from behind my back. I don't even look at it. I put it face down on the table. I say, Susan, there's a card face down on the table. Everyone in studio is watching. We got all the cameras going for the live stream. So people are watching. I can't switch that card. I can't change it. Tell us, what card are you thinking of? She says 2 of diamonds. The host turns over the card. It's the 2 of diamonds. And pandemonium breaks out in the radio station. The 2 hosts start freaking out, and they start repeating, "Oh my God, Joe Diamond just hacked the Pentagon. Joe Diamond just hacked the Pentagon with his brain." And I'm like, oh no. Now the white vans are definitely going to come for me. So I'm like, well, so again, playing Mr. Mr.
Backpedaler.
Tuesday morning drive, 8 a.m. Well, Susan, it's a good thing we had you think of a playing card. Thank you so much, So now in my head, though, I'm thinking, oh my God, when I come in, so I was hosting my own paranormal talk show on Sunday nights on this radio station's sister station. They were on 95 Will Rock FM, and then they had AM 1050 WLIP out of Kenosha AM. So I was like, oh my God, when I come in on Sunday, I'm going to pull the audio and the video from this, because I would do that for my show all the time. And I'm thinking in my head, oh my God, this is the footage. This is the stuff that's going to make me, that's going to go viral. Mind Reader hacks the Pentagon. This is going to be amazing. And you might be wondering, well, then how come we haven't seen this footage? And that is because when I went to the radio station and I went to that spot in the archives, that hour, the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock hour, was missing from the radio station's archives.
Any idea? Any idea who pulled it?
No one on staff could explain or figure out why that specific hour did not save.
Joe, if you screw up my show, I'm going to be very upset with you.
Now, I've told this story many, many times. I have told the story many times. And again, I had thousands of people who heard it live on the air. In fact, I've told this story on stage, and I've had people actually mention after the show, "Oh yeah, I heard that broadcast," because they broadcast from Chicago all the way up to Milwaukee, so they have a wide listenership.
Right.
So again, thousands of people heard this in the Chicagoland area. So again, I have thousands of witnesses who can verify the validity of this, and I do it in my show all the time. In fact, during lockdown, I did a lot of Zoom shows. In fact, I'm going to be doing one coming up. So even if people aren't going to be in the Midwest or Chicagoland area, they can still subscribe to my mailing list at joediamondlive.com and have the chance for me to read their mind over Zoom coming up in the next few weeks, because I'll be doing that again, because I haven't done those in a while, and they're a lot of fun, and it gives the chance for me to see more people and meet more people than just where I'm able to go in person. So I still do it. I can recreate it. I can do it. But I'm always I'm always a little nervous telling the story, because I'm always wondering, like, is this going to be the time when I'm finally told, "Hey, Joe, you gotta stop telling this story"? But I've been telling it for, let's see here, we're in 2024 now, so 8 years. So, and I haven't been told to stop telling it yet. So I think we're okay.
I've had Yuri Geller on the show a number of times, and he some of the stuff that he has talked about that he has done for the government is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So why
he's got the checks from Finding Oil to back it up?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I actually I was able to interview him for my radio show, and that's still on YouTube. And being able to talk to him was a huge dream come true as well. Yeah, he's definitely a childhood hero for me, for sure.
Joe, what is your take on Ouija boards? Do they really work?
I have kind of an unconventional take on Ouija boards, because I do believe in, for lack of a better term, a lot of paranormal phenomena, but I don't believe Ouija boards communicate with ghosts, demons, spirits, and the like. I actually did a couple college term papers on the Ouija board. One was actually based on the science of it. One was on the business of it. It's a fascinating history, by the way. There's America's first patent battle was over the Ouija board, actually, which is pretty fascinating. When you realize, oh my gosh, the first patent to ever go to court was for the Ouija board. The other thing that's fascinating is people are always worried about the board with the alphabet on it, when technically that's not the oracle. The oracle is the planchette with the hole in it. Originally, that had a piece of lead in it that would write messages for automatic writing and seances and table tipping and such. So the board is nothing more than an indicator. It's actually the planchette that is the oracle. And it wasn't until movies like The Exorcist came out that people started to have such a negative association with it. Like, people always knew they were spooky and supernatural, but none of like the urban legends of being possessed by them really came about until then. We actually did some experiments on my friend's YouTube channel, The Modern Rogue. If you type my name and Ouija board into Google or YouTube, you'll find this video. We did a bunch of experiments, but for me, the biggest experiment that to me shows that it's the person or the people moving it, whether they know it or not, is we blindfolded people, and then without telling them, flipped the Ouija board 180 degrees, so all the letters were in different places and the yes and no were in different places. So we then ask, yes or no questions, and the planchette would go up to where the yes used to be,
I see.
or where the no used to be.
Because they
So
don't.
that showed that there was something in the people, not outside of the people, but unconsciously the people's brains.
Joe, I've got to take a break here. Please
it.
stand by. Exonation, Joe Diamond is our guest, JoeDiamondLive.com. And you're listening to the X Zone, live and around the world on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. If you'd like to send me an email, my email address is xzone@classic1220.ca. We'll be back. Don't go away.
If you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old-time movie.
And welcome back. Talking about mind games, my guest this hour is Joe Diamond. His website is JoeDiamondLive.com. And you're listening to the X Zone on Classic 1220 and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. Joe, we were talking about Ouija boards, and you know, it seems that if I couldn't understand the demonic side of it if these were sold in toy stores.
Yeah. It seems like, well, and the fact it kind of had the Jaws phenomena. You know how shark sightings went up when the Jaws movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of thing with like demonic possessions. It all like centers around when the movie The Exorcist came out, and there's that famous scene with the Ouija board in it. And it's also, so the way it works is something known as the ideomotor response. It's the same way that we have pendulums work, and table tipping, and even some things like contact mind reading work. And the thing I try to point out that, I'm not discouraged that it's not spirits or ghosts. The fact that we're doing this, that our minds are capable of doing something like this, to me is just as, if not more, amazing. Like the fact that our minds can do this and we don't even know is pretty amazing and pretty astounding, and just goes to show how even when you know the mystery, there's always a deeper mystery waiting to be explored.
In your opinion, Joe, doing everything you do, what is your greatest interest when it comes to within the paranormal parapsychology?
Oh, man. I mean, with parapsychology, I mean, just all of it, everything from the human mind.
Mm-hmm.
I've really been looking at a lot of different aspects of the history of its place in both the laboratory and in the public eye and on stage, and how it needs both to kind of push it forward. It needs the stage to get people's interest, and needs the laboratory to keep actually pushing it forward. And I feel like in some ways, psychic phenomena and the paranormal has never been more popular, with thanks to, for lack of a better term, the stage, thanks to, TV shows and media and live shows and everything. But I don't feel like it's gotten the way it needs to be addressed properly in scientific communities. And there are some great scientific studies that are happening and that are doing great things with it and actually looking into it. And I'm just I'm really hoping that there's more of that, because like right now, lately, actually this last year, my big interest has been mesmerism and Franz Anton Mesmer, because he's often credited for discovering mental suggestion or hypnosis, but he was so convinced that he had found animal magnetism, this invisible fluid that would control people. He wasn't willing to hear the information that, no, this was actually something that people were, he wasn't willing to hear any other takes on what he had discovered. And I'm hoping that the more both of these things progress, the more, we're all able to, let go of our preconceived notions and, again, just be willing to embrace the mystery, because I think that's where you're not going to go in with a preconceived notion of and looking for, evidence to support beliefs rather than the other way around.
So would you say what you do in part is what is known as remote viewing?
It can. It can. In fact, we can try something kind of close to remote viewing with you and all the listeners.
Sure.
If to kind of finish up this last segment, if you want to give it a shot.
Sure, let's give it a shot. We've got 8 minutes left.
Okay. Yeah, that's more than enough time. So here's how this will work. We can't see each other, and we're too far away to do what would be known as kind of traditional, telepathy. So this will be known more as remote viewing or remote projection.
Okay.
The way this will work is I'm actually going to think of a thought. I will project it out to you and all the listeners through the airwaves, through the internet. It doesn't matter if people are listening to this recorded or not. It should still work. I've done this many times through recordings, and it should still work. And I'll project these thoughts, and we'll see how many of your listeners can receive our psychic transmission. Now, we'll see how you do here, right here and right now with the two of us.
Okay.
But either way, don't shout your answers out loud. Don't say your answers out loud just yet. Let's give the people listening a chance as well. And kind of like we talked about before, one tip is to not think about it too much. Go with whatever comes to you naturally. Intuition is knowing without knowing. Okay.
Yep.
So for starters, get comfortable for a moment, and take a deep breath, and then exhale. Perfect. We're gonna do that again. Take one more deep breath, and this time, as you exhale, get in your mind a number from 1 to 10. Lock it in your mind. Don't change it. Remember that number.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it again. Again, I'll keep it simple. Take another deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
And as you exhale, get in your mind a direction on a compass. Again, lock it in your mind. Don't change it. Remember that direction.
Right.
All right, this last one's going to be the most difficult. This time, I'm going to try to send two simple geometric shapes, one inside the other, like a square inside of something else. Obviously, don't pick square. I just said it. Take a deep breath. And exhale. And remember those two shapes.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how you did. And again, your listeners, what can your listeners email to let you know how they did after they've listened to this?
All right. All they need to do is just email me here at xzone@classic1220.ca. That's xzone, XZONE, at classic1220.ca.
Great, because what I was actually doing, I was focusing on a memory from my past. I was actually thinking of my first day of high school. Actually, it's a pretty common memory for a lot of people. That's why I picked it, so there'd be some overlap with a lot of your listeners. And I was thinking about how I couldn't, the moment where I couldn't find geometry class. So I asked someone where it was, and they said it was on the north side of the building. So if you got north, that would count as a hit right now. When I got to the classroom, I noticed there were 7 students. So if you got 7, that would count as a hint. And when I sat down, I remember the teacher had drawn on the chalkboard a circle and a triangle. So if you got one of those, that would be considered a hit as well. So Rob, how did you do? Did you get 1 or 2 or all of them? How did you do?
I got the last one, the circle.
You got the last one. Perfect.
Yeah, circle. When you said north, I was west. And when you'd said 7, I was 9.
Okay, so you weren't too far off on the number. That's fine.
No.
But that's the thing too. Now the other thing I point out in my live shows when I do this, the amount of people who get 1 or 2 is obviously the most, but the amount of people who get all three are the most like open people. Now, I often talk about the ones who get none of them right. That's okay too. These are the people who, when I asked to think of like simple shapes, thought of like a star inside of a dodecahedron. These are typically the people who are better at generating thoughts rather than being open to the thoughts of other people. And to be fair, these are the kinds of people we need for every kind of creative project. If you got, and these are the kinds of people who really think about what they're going to think about. And if you got two or all three of these thoughts, these are the people who are, of course, again, the most intuitive and the most open and the most able to receive this stuff. So I'm curious to see how the rest of the listeners did. I'm JoeDiamondLive.com. You can subscribe to my mailing list at the bottom of the homepage there, and let me know how you did as well. And yeah, I'm really curious to see how your listeners do with this, because it's a lot of fun to give it a try, and especially as the this goes out and the podcast version, it's interesting to hear how it does, because sometimes more people get it with the after broadcast. Sometimes people get it more with the initial broadcast. It's fascinating when this happens.
Before we go, we've got about 2 minutes. So quickly,
Okay.
Tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on them?
I love tarot. Real fun thing. So the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck was designed by a woman named Pamela Coleman Smith. Her friends called her Pixie. I mean, I could talk about just her for a whole hour next time. Long story short, she was an artist, moved to many different countries. Her first professional job as an artist was she designed the program for Bram Stoker's Dracula when it was a play in London's West End. In fact, Bram Stoker even gave her a speaking role in the play. He was so charmed by her. And it was through that play she got connected with William Butler Yeats in the Order of the Golden Dawn. And they commissioned her to design the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. And she listened to classical music like Beethoven and Bach and claimed to have synesthesia. So those were the image. That's where like your senses get all mixed up, where you can like feel colors or taste numbers. She could see music. So when she listened to classical music, those are the images that came to her. So I love that style deck because it literally is classical music brought to life. And then my favorite fact to finish up with her is in the last 10 years of her life, she came out as a Catholic woman. So I love telling people that a mixed-race female Catholic artist designed tarot cards.
And she always played with a full deck.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a couple great books that have come out about her and a couple great online articles if people want to look her up. She's, again, a fascinating human.
Joe, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us. Congratulations on everything you do. And we look forward to the next time when you're here with us back in the X Zone. And I will let you know how many listeners send me the emails with their responses. I will, Joe. Take care, sir. At X Zone Nation, if you'd like to contact Joe or check out his website, he's got a lot of stuff there, www.joediamondlive.com. Well, that's it for tonight, X Zone Nation. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we're here with you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. So until tomorrow night, when once again we meet here in the X Zone, take care of each other, love your child, let them know that they mean so much to you, and that always remember to keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.